Firstly, hello and good afternoon. Welcome to Blue Mountains International Hotel Management School alumni webinar of 2022. The title for this one is As Reality Sets In, Re-entering the Industry in an Unrecognisable Landscape. I'd firstly like to take this opportunity to acknowledge and pay our respects to the traditional custodians of the lands and waters of New South Wales and all Aboriginal elders, past, present and emerging. We respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and the waters of New South Wales and their continuing cultural, spiritual customs and practices. My name's Scott Bear. I'm currently the front office manager at Sofitel Sydney Darling Harbour. I'm an alumni from 2017 graduating class and a member of the alumni board. Over the past 2.5 years, there's no question that the hospitality industry has changed and adapted to the world's climate. Shortages of staff, quarantine hotels, uncertainty of business demand, and faith lost in the industry have just been a few examples of what we've faced throughout the COVID pandemic. Today's panel will explore the challenges that we faced, delve into details regarding their personal experiences, and share different perspectives and opinions on where they see the hospitality industry heading over the next few years. I'm incredibly lucky to be joined today by an all-star panel for this webinar to discuss hospitality and life after COVID and providing some insight into where we see the industry heading. Joining me today is Scott Boys, Amelia Perez, Robin Selborne, and Charles Tan. So firstly, Scott Boys. Scott Boys graduated Blue Mountains International Hotel Management School in 1994, and within 12 years of graduating, took his first general manager role at Novotel Barossa Valley. From there, Scott hasn't left the family of Accor, and after taking various GM and regional roles, he now sits as the Vice President of Operations for New South Wales and ACT at Accor. Scott is heavily involved in giving back to Blue Mountains, visiting to be a guest speaker and participating in webinars like today to educate the next generation of hospitality professionals. Scott now also has a podcast of his own titled A Room with a View, where he discusses all things hospo and personal life. So I highly recommend jumping on Spotify and giving it a listen. Next, we have Amelia Perez. She graduated Blue Mountains in 2020 and through her hospitality journey has worked on Hamilton Island, Fairmont Resort in the Blue Mountains and Shangri-La in the CBD. Looking for something different whilst still in the hospitality industry, Amelia was approached with the opportunity to join AHS as a consultant where she stayed for over 2 years before moving to Horath, where she is now a senior consultant working with various real estate companies and international hotel brands. Amelia is a strong advocate for the school and loves all things hospitality, proudly flying the Blue Mountains flag in a less familiar, but equally as exciting aspect of the industry. So thank you for joining us, Amelia. Next, we have Robin Selborne. Robin graduated, or is about to graduate from Blue Mountains towards the end of this year, where she was also president of the Student Representative Council and an events ambassador. Robin gained a great role as event operations supervisor on Hamilton Island at the beginning of COVID, and a key reason why she joins us today to discuss her experience through the pandemic. Robin is now an events coordinator at this space in Sydney, where she works to transform how brands attract, engage, and delight their audiences. So welcome, Robin. And our final guest for today is Charles Tan, who is a current student with us studying his master's, whilst also working a part of the pre-opening team at the Voco in Melbourne, where he's a GSA on the front desk. Charles has previously worked in Kuala Lumpur with Holiday Inn and Banyan Tree in various roles, which has built his overall understanding of the hospitality industry and has really set himself up for a successful hospitality career. So welcome to all the panelists and thank you again for joining me here today. And just a bit of a side note, throughout the webinar, if you have any questions for the panel, please send them through and they'll be answered as we go. So without further ado, let's get cracking on the webinar. You've probably heard enough of my voice already, so we will jump into the webinar and the team. So let's start on your own personal experiences. I really want to see, where we see your experience so far with the hospitality industry and also what your kind of view is on your role and the industry. So I guess our most experienced panelist would be Scott. So if you want to start, Scott, and let us know, your experience with the industry and how you view your role and how it's changed over the last couple of years.
Well, thank you. And it's a great pleasure to be here. And thanks for the kind introduction and the shameless podcast plug, Scott. I appreciate that. We are watching that. We're trying to get it to trend. We're trying to. It's like that movie about the old rocker that comes back to try to get the song to trend around Christmas time. Feel a little bit like that. Well, you kind of summarised my career. I finished at Blue Mountain School in 1994. I started working night shift at Accor. It was a very different time then. There was a shortage of jobs. I remember I sent out 100 letters to try and get a job. The only response I got back was from Laurie Jackson, the director of HR at the Novotel Brighton Beach, this new company in Australia called Accor. Offered me the job as a night porter, and I joined Accor then. I've been with Accor ever since. I've been incredibly fortunate. I've got to work all over Australia. I've worked in every state of Australia. I've got a very good understanding of the Australian hotel marketplace. I had the opportunity of working in Japan. I've worked in New Zealand. It's been a wonderful ride. And I've had many I've been an operator. I'm an operator. So all of those roles have been operational roles. My current job, so I'm responsible for New South Wales and the ACT. It's around 50, 60 odd hotels. I look after some hotel portfolios as well, which are a little bit broader than my geographical remit. Responsible for the day-to-day operation of those hotels. So making sure those hotels run well, making sure we deliver what our customers would expect, plus some, making sure that those hotels are a wonderful place to work, and that the promises we make to people that come and work with us around their career, making sure we meet those, and we provide a really great environment for people to grow and learn and reach their potential and reach their dreams. And I'm responsible for making sure that our owners have the best possible operator running their properties. The role hasn't really, in terms of the stakeholders in our business, like we're in a hotel game, and stakeholders are pretty straightforward: owners, guests, and team members. My role hasn't really changed. Just looking for the best possible outcomes for each of those stakeholders. Over the COVID period, probably it did change a little bit. More emphasis on safety, more emphasis on survival, but trying to get the best possible outcomes for each of those three stakeholders. It didn't change then. It was the same before COVID, and it's the same now. So I just see the environment maybe shifting a little bit, but the desire to get the best possible outcomes for the people that you're trying to serve, that remains the same.
Yeah, oh, fantastic. And obviously sitting in your role at the moment, I mean, reflecting back to that first job as a night porter, do you kind of see that in talent coming through now, and kind of not feel obliged, but feel a sense of, achievement when you see someone start as a night porter and come all the way through to high level management that you've been a part of?
I think we've all had people in our lives that have touched us with fairy dust, and you're forever grateful that you cross paths with that person. And yes, if I can be that person for somebody else, then great. But my role is bigger than that, because you can never reach as many people as you want to reach doing it that way.
Yeah,
you've got to create an environment where everybody is doing that. And if you create an environment where everybody is doing that, your ability to influence the lives of many just is amplified. So yes, I do take that responsibility seriously, but the responsibility to create an environment that others are doing it, that's probably more important.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. And Amelia, how about yourself?
My experience during COVID.
Yeah, and how your kind of role has adapted through that period.
So I started my career. I did my placements in operations. Then in 2019, at the end, Jennifer Davey was one of my lecturers at university. She used to give the feasibility course, and she offered me a position at Howard. And I thought it was a very interesting side of the industry. Not many people have gone through that side. And I just found it very, very interesting. So I started working for them in January 2020. before COVID hit. No one would have expected any of the things that ended up happening. So it was a very interesting time to start working in consulting, mostly because we switched from really positive feasibility reports and projects into a little bit more of financial verifications, and everyone wondering, do I still want to build a hotel or not? Is it still going to be feasible to build a hotel?
Yeah.
So I learned a lot. It was definitely a really good time to start, I would say, because I got to do all of the learning in 2020, 2021. So as we came out of COVID, I felt a little bit more confident. I learned a lot during that period. So now that the industry's recovered, I feel more prepared to talk to clients, to talk to owners. I've gone through that rough patch. So it was challenging and interesting, but probably one of the best things that could have happened to me was to jump into consulting. I got to keep my job as an international student. Most part of my friends left the country, so I think that was one of the toughest and most challenging things that COVID brought for me personally. Because you're on your own pretty much in a different country.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, it's very different side to hospitality that I guess not many people are made aware of when they're studying hospitality, but also coming into the operations. It's not many people realize what it takes to build a hotel and get it off the ground. So you get to see that firsthand, which is great.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And Robin?
Well, I think I had a very similar experience to Amelia, actually. It was very unique in the sense that not only was I a student studying during this pandemic, but I was also very fortunate to actually be working through it on Hamilton Island as well. So lucky me, I got my placement as soon as that pandemic hit, and got to go actually experience quarantine and everything because all the borders had shut. So spent 2 weeks in quarantine before moving to the island. And I still remember, setting foot on the island and being like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Like, why would I ever want to put myself through this? So I think, I learned a lot. Like Amelia said, I was actually very fortunate, and I actually feel truly blessed that I was a student during that time and that I was working in an entry level position as opposed to being, one of the big dogs, having to make all the terrifying decisions. So I guess for me, like the whole experience was just learning as much as I could, because something like this could potentially happen again. And how fortunate I was to be a student during this time and then working and learning, I guess, what everyone else around me was doing and taking notes from the people above and how they were reacting to things. And, things were changing so frequently. 1 minute it's like masks, next minute it's like actually no mask. Next minute we're halfway through a wedding and the mask mandate comes back and you're running around handing out masks. But I guess for me, my experience was a little bit hotels, but mostly events. And similarly to hotels, that the event industry took a massive, massive knock. We're still recovering, to be honest. And it went from 0 to 1,000 in a blink of an eye. So even now, I am due to graduate in September. Technically, I finished classes in June, but I still have so much to learn. And I feel, truly blessed that I've actually entered the industry at this time, because I get to be a part of it rebuilding. I get to learn from all of those above me who had to go through making these hard decisions. Hopefully, my whole purpose, I guess, is I just want to show everyone that, the hospitality industry will continue to boom. It will get back up off the ground, and people need connection. So it's not a terrifying industry to be in at all. In fact, I remember that every time I would talk to a guest, they'd be like, you're studying hotels, or like you're studying events, like, do you understand what you put yourself into? And I'm here like, yeah, it's gonna be okay, surely, you know, we'll get back to it. But yeah.
No, that's great. And I think being in Hamilton Island, I guess, you know, Queensland was probably one of the most open states in the country that allowed the travel and the tourism. Was it noticeable on Hamilton, or was it still quite restrictive being off the mainland?
Yeah, actually, it was special because we were in our own COVID-free bubble. The island itself didn't actually get its first case of COVID until January of this year.
Yeah.
So we lived, pretty much COVID-free. I guess in terms of the type of tourism that the island was getting was actually more so Queenslanders than anything else, people that had never traveled to the island before. Whereas prior to COVID, it was very much, you know, people coming from interstate to experience the island and international. So we were pretty much untouched for the most part. Obviously, we did have to obey the mandates and everything like that. But for the most part, we got to function semi-normal. So yeah, and then it was an entire shock in itself when all of a sudden we got the first case, and then it spread like wildfire in January. And we were all like, oh, we thought we had, like, you know, seen it through and hadn't been touched. And it was like, joke's on you. But no, yeah, we were relatively untouched, which was extremely, extremely lucky.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. And Charles, last but not least.
I think my experience, I got lucky because I was doing a final internship with Accor itself by entry before the COVID hits. When the first case in China was in January, I started my internships in December. So I put it 1 month forward because I wanted to do something extra to learn more. But then luckily I do that decisions because all my batchmates started in January got cancelled for the internships, and we moved it to the virtual style of internship because of the cost constraints. And then Malaysia, it's kind of going to close border. That time I haven't joined Blue Mountains. I only joined Blue Mountain in September. I was still in my old school. And by entry is still very keen to proceed with the payment style of pay internships for me to learn as much as possible. How to implement a contingency plan during COVID time. Our hotel never become a quarantine hotel because it doesn't want it. Because they say the luxury world doesn't want to become a quarantine hotel. You bring down the standards itself, and it's very hard to build back the trust among the community as well once you become a quarantine hotel. And it happens in Malaysia, a lot of communities, and then they think that way. Oh, you're a quarantine hotels. Are you very safe? Something like that. Those kind of mentality during the COVID time, starting of the COVID time, because we doesn't have a vaccines, and it's spread out quite massively. So during that time, I only learned as much as possible because I'm still a student, and then that's also another decision kick in because I wanted, once I finished my internship, I wanted to transfer from Accor by entry to referrals in Singapore. And COVID hits, and you know, Singapore is the first one to shut the border by everyone. You can't come in, and then the army just fenced it up everywhere. So yeah, that's why I took the decision. I was like, okay, let's go for masters and polish up my skills a bit, learn more about other cultures. In Australia, I've never been to Australia to study and understand a different syllabus because my school was a French-based syllabus. Everything's about French, Euro styles. So pretty much it's learning and polishing myself to become better. Yeah.
Fantastic. So COVID basically put you back into school, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. And how did you see the difference in, I guess, the COVID handling between the two countries? You know, once you cut to Australia and back home, was there a vast, I guess, difference in how it was handled, you know, like day to day?
Yes, I think Australia it's kind of more open. Back in home, we only have a 5 km radius. You cannot go more than 5 km radius. If you go more than that, you need to get an official police officer or the army official certify to what is the reason of the purpose of you going out, traveling such a distance. Like, the only distance is only funerals or hospitalizations matters. Other than that, it's not allowed. Even the government official need to be stay in house. There's no convoy on the streets, all those things. Normally, it's only the quarantines hotel is working, and some of the hotels, like our hotels is working because we are also hosting some of the government officials in-house. Our ex-prime ministers, we changed 3 prime ministers during COVID. That's the political way. So I'm not going to talk about that. But they're staying in-house with us. They stay in our residence as well. So that's why we are hosting them. They have sudden meetings, all those contingency plan, how the country need to move forward. That's why we are there to work. And those are different things, and then very difficult because a lot of policy changes. It's very troublesome for you to go to the army's place, always get certified, while you see other countries is more easy, like Australia is more kind of easy way at the starting, and then we are very hard because the Malaysians wanted to follow a Singapore law. So Singapore is all like mask is compulsory, you can't go out, and the army is always everywhere. Those kind of things.
Quite different then.
Yeah.
5K rule. I mean, I wish I was in the Northern Beaches for our 5K so I could be at the beach each day, but didn't quite capture that radius for me. So yeah, so it's quite interesting to hear like what you guys all went through and experienced through the COVID pandemic. I mean, everyone was at a different situation and point of time. I guess going from what you've experienced and what we now know about COVID and what we had to deal with, take it back to the 18th of March, you know, the government announced hotel quarantine, the government announces lockdowns, and you know, COVID really started to impact society, especially in Australia. What, I guess, would you tell yourself, or the learnings that you've had? What would you tell yourself if you were at that 18th of March now and about to enter the COVID pandemic? Yes. Have a think, or yeah.
I'm going to give a very simple answer and I'll build on it. I would just tell myself that everything's going to be okay. I remember when government announced quarantine, it was very hard to make the decision to stay in Australia or go back to my home country. I didn't know when I was going to be able to see my family again. I could see that a lot of my friends were taking the last plane that was leaving Australia back to their home countries because that was the last chance. So I remember sitting there thinking things through. Do I stay here? Do I go back? What's going to happen to my career if I go back to Guatemala? So I ended up staying because I just started a new job and I really liked it. But again, from a professional point of view, we go back, and I believe that most of us in hospitality industry, all of us starting our career, most of us starting our career as recent graduates, it was a lot of uncertainty. You didn't know if you were gonna get fired tomorrow. So it was, I guess uncertainty was the worst part about it. You don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. The worst of the worst that you could have thought could happen was already happening. So I would just tell myself that everything's going to be okay. And look at us, we're here now, we made it through. So it's quite nice to look back, look at the decisions that you've made during that period of time. And at least I would not change a thing. I'm really happy with the decisions I've taken and where it has brought me to.
That's great. Good to hear. What else?
I guess I'll go. I think what I would be telling myself is probably keep your eyes and your ears open and keep a notepad and pen close by because you're about to learn an awful lot. I think, yeah, what Amelia said about uncertainty, I think that was definitely the scariest part, especially when a lot of people are, you know, seeing the industry go downhill and they're almost like warning you, like, oh my gosh, you're studying hospitality, like get out while you can. I think, yeah, I'd be telling myself you're about to learn an awful lot and you're in the best position to actually be during a time like this.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, no one's really going to go through the intense kind of shortages of staff and opportunities to grow that we did, obviously, through that 2.5-year kind of period. And I think you can see it in itself in the recruitment side of things, how fast people have taken steps in their careers over this period of time because of, the experience they've been exposed to. So yeah, it's a great point. Notepad and pen. Excellent.
Notepad and pen.
Yeah, that's it. What else? Scott, yourself?
Well, on reflection, COVID was actually, it was a difficult time, but it was also a very rewarding time. And there's been a lot of, I don't really want to focus on the bad things that came from COVID. I think that's now behind us. I'd like to focus on the good things that came out of COVID, and the good things are the quality of people in our industry. I really want to stop talking about the image problem the industry has, because it doesn't have an industry problem, an image problem. The industry never had an image problem. Yes, the outside world views the industry differently, but what we've got here inside the camp is amazing. And everyone starting their careers now is starting at a really wonderful spot, because everybody is so determined to build something super special. We all know what we want it to be. We all know what we could have lost. We all know where we want to be. We all know who we want to be doing it with. So what would my advice be? And it started earlier than March, Scott. I wrote a briefing paper for our company on the 13th of February.
Yeah.
And the first group of quarantine guests, which we took, was in the first week of March. I think that it's going to be okay is a good one. It's kind of like a bad service, like it's got to start and it's got to finish, and you can either suffer through a bad service or you can just nail it. I think I would have said, let's choose to nail it, and let's do this, and let's do it well, and let's work our way through it. And at some point it will end. We'll debrief it and we'll learn from it, and let's go again.
Yeah, fantastic. I guess
let's do it all over again.
Yeah. Your role, obviously a core's presence in quarantine hotels and facilities, and providing such a great base of accommodation for what we experienced was huge. I think the core's footprint in that area, that in Meriton, were the biggest kind of impacts on the industry. Was it, I guess, a different time dealing with those and managing, I guess, between governments and military and those kind of the police officials and everything? Was it, I guess, a different side to the accommodation aspect that you hadn't dealt with before, or is it you just treated it like any other accommodation kind of processes, and it just so happened to be a quarantine program?
I know that we're really good at what we do. Like I know that our teams are just awesome and amazing. So if there was a response that had to be, done that hotels played a role in to keep Australia safe or safer, then we certainly want to be part of that, because we're very proud of what we do. I was worried about our team. I was very worried about our team, because at the start of the quarantine program, like, those team members are putting them, if you remember the mindset of COVID back then, it was like, if you get it, you're going to be really, really sick and something really bad could happen. So we were very worried about that. But to their credit, like, they just kept on fronting up. The purpose behind our involvement in quarantine ultimately was to assist the health response, but it was to care for people that needed our help. Like, there was people that were going to have to come back to Australia and spend 14 days in a hotel room. Well, let's make it the best possible 14 days they'll spend. And that's the challenge that we set ourselves. And I think we learnt a lot, and we developed some great contacts in government and police and in health, where we're now experts in being able to deliver healthy rooms. Like, we know more about infection control than most. And that's a great skill, because it will now shape and dictate how rooms are cleaned forever. And I think that's a good thing. So it was a difficult decision, because the risks were not known and the outcomes could have been very different. The outcomes were much better than we perhaps thought, and I'm very proud of what we did.
Yeah, that's great. And I think a lot of what Accor did. Sorry, Amelia. Yeah.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Mm.
Was it challenging for hotels that were doing the quarantine with the budgets that the government was giving them in order to provide that level of service and experience that Accor wanted to deliver?
No, the money did not really weigh into our decision-making process initially. It was yes, the money was relevant to keep people in employment. So if we could get X number of hotels operating at near to full capacity over an extended period of time, we could safeguard jobs, then that was good enough. And to their credit, the investment community and owners, they came on that journey with us. So no, the government was very generous with where that program got to, and it enabled us to keep our workforce in the main intact. And I'm very
That's great
proud
to hear
of
that government supported you very well in that journey. Yeah, they
did. They were true partners, and we would sit down and say, "Look, this is what we need," and they came to the party. They were very good. There was a great deal of mutual respect between the industry and government to deliver the best possible quarantine program.
Yeah, I think another thing that highlighted me about that program, it was not just the guests that came to hotels that I think Accor had a focus on. It was also the employees that were stood down during that period. I think that hardest fund that was created and the packs that went out was a different way of dealing with it that I don't think a lot of people thought of initially and then got on board with. So yeah, handled it very well, which was great. Obviously unknown circumstances as well, so it was thinking on your feet and thinking about the outside big picture, which is great. What about you, Charles? What would you say to your past self?
I think for me, I just follow the flow. that because I know that even when I wanted to come into this industry, my mom was like the first mentality from a very pure Chinese background. They were like, "You're gonna clean toilets." So that is the first mentality when it comes to hospitality for them. When I wanted to choose it, I was be like, even though the industry hits like what happens before, like SARS, like terrorist attack and 9/11, all those things, the industry will always come back strong. So I think I put in the faith of the industry. I'll just follow the flow wherever it takes me. That's why I was like, I mean, well, going to study, it's another big thing, like a budgeting, but then it's also like following the flow of, I need to master's well, since the industry is not doing so well. I can master it in other ways, like studying, or case study as much as possible in the other way, and then serve the industry back later on.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think I'll jump onto one of the questions that's been asked by David, and he's open to everyone in the panel that can respond. It was, do you think hotels and our peers re-image the hotel industry now and events industry and every part of the industry and make changes? So, for example, running with 2 shifts instead of 3 shifts, having a 4-day work week, working from different locations. So yeah, I'll put it to you guys. What do you think that the hotels have adapted and made those changes, or do you think they've kept to pre-pandemic operations?
Well, what do you think, Scott? You're in it.
Yeah. We interview you.
Yeah.
No, I actually know that IHG has a really good program. You work at Boco, right, Charles? So they have a platform in which you can choose your shifts at anywhere in Australia. So they've implemented that flexible working environment. Does Accor have anything similar?
Yeah, we do. We have Work Your Way, and that enables you to choose how and where you want to work. And yeah, we're all about now. Our CEO says, meeting people where they're at. Where you're at in life, we've got something for you. So yeah, I think every hotel has got a desire to be more attractive as an employer and try and encourage work-life balance and do things differently. There's absolutely a motivation in the industry to do things differently. Tech has a role to play. We've got robots in our hotels now. I'm not sure whether we would have embraced robotics as quickly as we have if it wasn't for the last couple of years. We've got different structures. Hotels are all about now trying to get the people at the top as close to the customer and the front line as possible to make really good decisions. And that's not about saving money. That's just about being more efficient and more effective, and to speed up good decision making. Certainly in terms of product, like building great amenity. And I just did a walk yesterday, and the hotels that we're about to open in the Sydney CBD and the refurbs we're doing in Manly and the new refurb at Mercure Sydney, like the product is going to just be next. And it's not just Accor that's doing great product. Everyone's doing great product, but the next level of product is going to be just extraordinary. You're going to have great buildings to work in. And that then puts pressure on the next refurb cycle for everyone else. Wellness is massive. You know, everyone's trying to do content wellness, content-led wellness. We all got exposed to content online to be able to train in our garages, and bringing that into the hotel environment with really good facilities. Food and beverage is playing a very big role in driving how a hotel feels and what a hotel can and can't do. So was it David that asked the question? The industry is absolutely motivated to build an amazing future. And at every touch point, you know, every time someone comes with a new idea, it's okay, let's look at it, let's unpack it. Can we do this? And if we can, how are we going to do it? And how quickly can we deploy? And can we scale it? And can we make it better?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Robin, you give us a bit of insight into the event side of the industry. You know, what we're doing right now, webinars, Zoom calls, all that kind of stuff came very apparent over the past 2 years. How's that reshaped the events kind of industry and how you've adapted?
Yeah, look, it's taken a massive turn, and I think a turn that people didn't quite expect, like David said, like what Scott said, that wasn't expecting to happen so soon. I think I read somewhere the other day, it was something like 84% of exhibitors that generally work at events have now taken on a hybrid approach. So working, especially now that the industry is back up and coming, working half in the digital space and then half in the physical space itself. So it's been huge. I think it's been a massive adjustment. I think people were having to learn things extremely quickly. Like, I don't think anyone was quite prepared to start hosting 1,000 PAX conference online. I don't think that was something that they thought was going to be hitting them that quickly. But yeah, it's been amazing to see. Even now, companies are still coming to us wanting to host physical events, but also wanting to stream it live so that it can be witnessed all throughout Australia and the rest of the world as well. So it's taken a very interesting turn, one that I think will continue for the foreseeable future, because I think, you know, a lot of people love the idea of attending conference from bed at home, as opposed to having to travel to go, you know, see it in person. But yeah, in saying that though, from my experience working in events, I can see that there's definitely a need for that connectivity. People crave connection. And I was actually at an expo just the other day talking to other people also in the event space, and they were just saying that, you know, there was such a craving for it, such a need for it, that despite everything that's happened, people are still wanting to attend events. And I think, you know, with 2 years of being in isolation and not being able to network with others and not being able to just, I guess, have that physical connection with others really took a toll. And so now, like, same with the travel industry, same with the hospitality industry, events has gone from like 0 to 1,000 in a matter of 2 seconds. I think we're going to be backlogged for an extremely long time. Because yeah, people are just wanting events. Just like, I feel like all of my friends are in Europe at the moment. The second they could get there, everyone's going, you know. But yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting future, because I don't think we're ever going to go back to just 100% pure physical events. I think it's definitely going to be this hybrid type of platform moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we've got no vacancy coming up at the ICC in a couple of weeks, and that's just exciting to get the whole industry in one place and back talking and innovating what's to come within the industry. I think a lot of companies are going to bring new ideas and different ways of operations. So to David's point, is there going to be a change in the industry? I think we've already experienced a change, and I'm actually excited for what's to come. At Sofitel alone, we've got a self-check-in kiosk, which I don't think I'd ever see the day of a 5-star hotel having a check-in kiosk for years to come. But people adapt to it. People want it. People crave that ease of access, that shiny new product. But also, it's innovating. It's changing the way that we're thinking and we're utilizing those. I guess our staff and our team to create more experiences to make certain aspects of the business a bit easier and attainable, which is great. So excellent. Oh, that's good. I guess.
Scott, just before you jump on, I did see that was from David Thompson. And because I can't see the questions, I just flashed up on the screen.
Yeah.
David would want us to say that chatbots have got a place in the future. So
Absolutely.
David, that's for you, chatbots.
Yeah. Chatbots does, and one of his prized possessions. And I mean, that is coming more evident. It's that ease of communication without having to have someone sit there and do it yourself is the way of the future, and getting the same answer and the same result, delivering 5-star service. So watch that space for sure. Another question through there, Amelia. This is a question for yourself. With your company, are you seeing a demand for new hotel projects building, and what type of hotel resorts? Is it 5-star? Is it mid-scale? What's like the kind of big traffic that's coming through for your company at the moment?
So it is an interesting time because a lot of the projects were set on hold during COVID. And now as we are getting a more positive outlook, there's a reevaluation of by owners on whether they want to proceed with the project. Are they still feasible? Can they still be built? So during COVID, there was a big switch to regional products because regional was booming. So everyone was looking at regional. There were quite a few projects that went into the pipeline in regional areas. As we come out of COVID, they're reevaluating the main projects that they had in capital cities mostly. However, right now, the challenges are the things that COVID left, but not many, you wouldn't have expected, like the other side effects of COVID, such as very expensive construction costs, lack of construction staff. So a lot of the projects that were feasible in 2019 are no longer feasible. So it all came back to whether or not owners have the capability to finance it. Based on that, then that is the first thing that it's been in question right now. And then comes, okay, what sort of product you're going to put in. So depending on the area, when you're talking regional, it would usually be a mid-scale, upscale property, usually not luxury. In capital cities, you have really exciting products in Sydney. The Capella's coming in. The Waldorf Astoria has been announced. The W had 2 construction companies that went broke. They're on the 3rd one right now. So I like to believe that might be a haunted site. So that's coming up. So a lot of really good luxury products coming into Sydney, which is something we were lacking. I believe there were not many besides the Sofitel Darling Harbour. That was one of the first ones that came up, and the Crown, but that's different. That's an integrated resort, so it has a casino component in it. And then Melbourne had a lot of luxury, upscale, mid-scale products. So there's not many more things coming into that market at the moment. But yeah, overall, a mix of things. It has all come into financing, whether or not they can build the projects and whether or not they're feasible.
Yeah, fair enough. There you go, David. So I guess back to Robin, you mentioned to stick with the hospitality industry, to, trust the process, and it's going to rebuild. It's already rebuilding. It's a fantastic hospitality industry to be a part of. A question from Aurelia was, how do you manage to convince yourself to stay within the industry? What was kind of the big highlighting factors that you were like, okay, that's going to keep me within what I'm doing?
I guess for me, it was just knowing that there's no way there will never be a world without hospitality. You know, it's too big of an industry and it creates so much revenue all over the world. And it's just, like I said before, something everyone craves. So I knew there was no way, there was just not going to be hotels and just not going to be events. And I guess for me, it was a matter of being like, there's like you said before, Scott, there's a start and an end to everything. And I didn't know how long it was going to be or how long it was going to take. But I just thought to myself, I was like, once again, I was in the most fortunate position to be in. And I knew that it was going to end. And human beings are the most adaptable species on this planet. And I knew that we were going to find a way out of it. And especially in the hospitality industry, I knew that we were going to build our industry back up again, because people want it, people crave it. There are going to be restaurants, there are going to be hotels, there are going to be flights to Europe, and there will be events. So yeah, I guess that was my thought pattern throughout it all.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the way that you talk, and I guess everyone on this panel, the number one thing that we all have in common is we have a passion for the industry. You know, we have a passion for doing what we get up and do every day. So I think that alone drives that, I guess, confidence within the industry, because if there's a passion there, you know, it's not going to just burn out overnight. So yeah, it's fantastic. It's exciting.
Well, hotel people are hotel people.
Absolutely.
So if you're a hotel person, then we're better place to be than being in a hotel. Like the amount of people that leave our industry and go and try other things, and great, good luck, you know, and Godspeed, and I wish you every success. But the hotel people, they all come back. They all come back. So save yourself the pain. Don't go anywhere. just make it better. Just make it better. If you can change the way that somebody else feels based on what you do, that's a life skill. So why not come and do it in the workplace every day and just become really good at that? Because if you can do that, you can do anything. Yeah,
absolutely. And we've got those four like key components to any business. You know, you've got your stakeholders, your owners. So your owners, your management companies, the staff, and the guests. So, you know, all of these kind of stakeholders of the business have changed drastically over COVID. And, you know, speaking from experience within the operations side of things, you have seen a different market segment come into hotels, come into events industries, you know, different companies wanting to do different things. And I guess, you know, I'll start with you, Charles, because I'd love to know, you know, being in a pre-opening right now and seeing, I guess, back in at home with the different clientele that you would have faced, what do you feel is like the biggest changes that you've seen in regards to the guests? You know, what's their expectation changes? What's their demands on that guest side specifically?
Sure. At first, during the pre-opening, I'm in front office in the room division department with my hotel manager. We was discussing about the first bounce back when we open. It must be booking.com or those OTS website domestic travelers, but it surprises that it's until now we already open for 2.5 months. Our top travelers are business travelers, and they all host events with us and also have back-to-back partnership as well. It's like very suddenly they just pop it. They said, we want to get this done. And we will come back 2 weeks later for events, and we will come back 2 weeks later for rooms again. Like consistently, things is happening that we didn't expect that come back so fast, especially from the business travel side. We thought there is a lot of budget restraining, and we thought there is a lot of they might look for a different hotels, because Voco is a very, very new hotel, and it's also a 4-star hotel, but it's only the location in the city center. We are more towards a boutique styles hotel. That's why the first target group is always the FIT group first. But the business traveler tend to want to try it out. That's why that is the unexpected thing throughout the COVID that really changed the dynamic of the travelers itself.
Yeah, fantastic. I think, yeah, the focus definitely shifts. I mean, at Sofitel here, you know, prior to COVID, we were a very heavy events conference in next to the ICC hotel that brought in a lot of groups. And, you know, I think that first year out of COVID or through COVID recovering, it was all FIT. It was all, you know, inner city travel coming into the hotel families. So it was adapting to that kind of that market. Now we're seeing a shift back out of that and getting into the groups again, but which is great to see, and the event space opening back up. But yeah, definite change of expectations as well. The value side of it's massive. You know, people have saved over this period of time and now they're coming to spend and they want to get the full value out of what they're spending. So yeah, it's an interesting insight into it. I've got a question from Wafy here for the panel, and I guess more so maybe targeted at Scott a little bit more, but can you give us some advice on how to integrate back into the workforce after many months of unemployment? So how to make a positive contribution, maintain work-life balance, and see appeal into potential jobs?
Oh, it's a bit like giving financial advice. Hard to give specific advice generally. Well, the secrets to being successful in this industry are it's not rocket science. Number one, if you love being around people, then just show that you love being around people. Like, smile, relax, just engage, and come to work and want to make a positive difference every day. Care for those you work with, care for those that you're looking after. Do the best you can. Try and make people's day. Like the core elements of what it takes to be successful in this industry. You know, you can just come back and assimilate quite quickly. I don't know how long you've been out of the workplace, how long you've been out of work. That could be daunting, but just relax. You know, everyone wants you to be successful. Everyone wants to work with you. Everyone wants you to do the best job you can to make the most out of the opportunity you have. So yeah, rip in. And if I can help, reach out. My number's on my link. My mobile phone number's on my LinkedIn profile. Call me, and if I can help, I'll help.
Yeah, that's great. And what about you, Amelia? I guess your side of hospitality is a bit different to the typical operations side. How would you kind of give advice to someone maybe wanting to enter that kind of side of the industry?
If you asked me when I started university if I would be doing this job, I wouldn't have believed you. I do think my advice is to keep your mind open. You don't know where you're gonna end up. There's so many different roads in our industry that you can take. Hospitality, it's not just hotels. You can go into travel and tourism. I have a friend that works in Cook, which is an experience company, which is really cool. Then you can go into airlines. They're doing internship programs, I think, every year. They're quite interesting, completely different side of the industry. You can try to work with brands in head office of hotel operators if you like to stay close to that, to the operation side of things. You can work in hotel development, valuations. It all depends on your type of personality. I know that a lot of people go into revenue and sales and marketing, but I would like to invite them to explore also other options, such as maybe the real estate valuation side of things. That could be a good new opportunity. They also do internship programs quite often. So my advice is keep your mind open, explore the different paths that hospitality has. Give it a shot. Maybe you hate it, maybe you love it. So that is my advice.
Yeah, fantastic. And bit of an odd one. It's weird to think about. You know, we've just dealt with COVID. We want it to just remain that way and get out of it nice and easy, as we have been now focusing on for the last couple of months. But, you know, if there was to be a next big disruptor that the industry faces, what do we think it could possibly be? I'll leave that as an open question. It's a tough question to answer because no one would have thought of COVID. But yeah, what do we think it could be?
I think
you just. Oh, sorry. Sorry, you go.
It's okay. You go.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I think the next big disruptor is this mindset of focusing on COVID. So we've got to stop doing that. That's in the revision mirror now. Like, let's move on. The road ahead is really exciting. So let's focus there. And I think we've got a mindset. I mean, this whole panel has been about a mindset of taking opportunities, right? So maybe the next big disruptor is not a disruptor. Maybe it's just an opportunity. You know, maybe things just pop up that you go, wow, that's interesting. Let's think about how we can adopt that. Let's think about what that means for us. Let's think about how we can incorporate and embrace that. I think we're far more open to taking new ideas and different ways of doing things. We've had to. So let's keep doing that. I really think we should all, from today, just stop referring to COVID and the COVID period. People calling in sick, people have called in sick for centuries. So people are going to call in sick tomorrow and the next day, and let's get on with it. And whatever the next opportunity is, bring it on. Let's go.
Absolutely. It's great. Robin?
I think so. I actually asked this question to all my colleagues as well. And the common consensus there was we actually think, especially for events, the inflation rate at the moment and, you know, the potential economic future, I guess, could be a bit of a disruption to the industry. I think once again, just like COVID, there's a lot of uncertainty going into that space as well. For events in particular, I guess events are considered like a luxury kind of product and service. So, you know, alongside with all of that comes, you know, less disposable income. Companies, even post-COVID, they're very reluctant to let go of their money and spend it on events. You know, we're used to having dream budgets to produce these events, and now we're having to do they're expecting a similar sort of product, but for a heavily reduced budget. So yeah, I guess with inflation going forward, but like Scott said, there's actually opportunity there, and no matter what, we'll adapt and we'll evolve. That's what hospitality is all about. But I definitely think for events anyway, the inflation margin there is slightly concerning, but we'll get through it. We always do. So it's all good.
No, that's exactly right. And I guess, you know, on that point and moving into a discussion in regards to not having the budgets, not having the staff in, those kind of things, how do we, and here's a question from Casper, how do we provide true value to guests when we are restricted possibly sometimes with staffing and the budgets that we do? What's our adaptability like to, and what do we do, I guess, to change, to make sure the guests are still getting the value out of the premium they're paying?
Well, we're not there yet. We're not.
I think
so. We need to. I think we need to tackle that in two parts. What can you do quickly, and what takes a bit more time? So, what can we do quickly? We can recruit the best possible people, and we can train at a high quality and train better than we've trained before. Use some of the tools that are around. We've discovered some of the most amazing training tools that we would never have found. So train, and get the best people. Don't settle for anything less than the best, and build and train and build those soft skills, and that will get us a long way very quickly. And I think we can meet the guest at their expectations just by doing those two things. And then it's about product. Then it's about reinvesting in assets that need to be reinvested in, and it's about building really great product and changing then what a hotel looks and feels like by the hard and soft infrastructure. But the hotels that we're opening in the next 2 months, the Morris and the Porterhouse, both within 500 metres of each other in Sydney, are stunning at different ends of the market, but they're stunning. The refurbs are stunning, and we're absolutely motivated to go and get reinvestment in hotels, build the business case out, build great product, build great experiences, build great infrastructure, build great amenity, and then the training piece will create great hotels. But we're not there yet. I need people like you, Scott, to just train your heart out and create an environment where people want to be the best, and that will get us there. And we're not far off that, actually. To be honest, we're pretty close.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very agree to Scott as well. I think it's also we are looking to getting the right attitude of people on board as well, to be on top of the training as well. Like over in my team itself, not only in hospitality, we have architectural students from MIT. It's on board with us as front desk. We have agriculture as well, studying master in agriculture with us in housekeeping department as well. So all diversified, but they doesn't really relate back to the industry itself, but then they wanted to work and they said, I always stay in the hotel, but I don't know how's the life of the hotel. And then they wanted to experience the right attitude of exposure. It's very unique and very hard to find as well. When you have the right attitude, every hotel wanted to hire you. It's an easy sketch.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's an exciting time, I guess, to be in hospitality and what we're coming with, and I guess where we're moving forward to as well. So it almost hits me and says, like, I think, Robin, you touched on it before, it is probably the best time to get into the industry. It's, you've got people in our positions that are sitting there dying for talent, dying for people who want to learn, and we're willing to invest the time and money into it to make sure, I guess, you get the best possible exposure coming into the industry. And then, in a sense, you're going to be developed at a higher rate than what people would have been 5-6 years ago, because we want to get you up to speed as quick as we can to deliver that top service. And what we've experienced in Sofitel, and my personal experience, is guests aren't complaining anymore about the service that's being provided because it's top notch. It's people who are passionate about that, want to do. And you've seen people exit the industry that didn't really have a true passion for it, that kind of gave up when the industry started to shake a little. And now you've got the people that are confident within the industry and confident within where they're heading, and it shows in the service standards. There's hotels in Sydney that are 30-40 years old but are getting top scores on TripAdvisors and reviews, because people come in and they're blown away by the experience. It doesn't matter if the product's old, it's the people that they meet and the stories that they tell and the connections that they make. And that's, what we get ingrained into us, especially at a core with the hardest principles. And, other companies have their own kind of onboarding experience, but it's all about that human touch. So, yeah, completely agree. It's the training is the big thing that we've got to invest in, which is exciting. So I guess, okay, we can stop talking about COVID, even though the topic of the conversation is COVID and whatnot.
No,
we're moving on.
So we can talk about COVID, but let's talk about it positively.
Well,
like the
exactly.
Things that we've learned. Yeah.
But COVID's behind us, and now we're looking at the future. We're looking at the future of hospitality and where the industry's going, and excitement. We've got Women's FIFA World Cup coming into Sydney. We've got, the men's T20 World Cup. We've got the Rugby World Cup. All these big sporting events are coming back into Sydney, with tourism booming and major events. And, where do we kind of see the industry going? What's exciting, I guess, each of us in this panel right now about that confidence of knowing what's going to happen with the industry? I guess open to you guys, but where do you see it going?
I think in terms of like what you just said, all the events and everything, I think if anything, it's so exciting for us to see how excited everyone else is about the fact that things are opening up, about the fact that there are all these events coming back, and that, there's those opportunities to travel and everything like that. I think that in itself is really exciting. And if anything, for me, that makes me, want to work harder, because I really want to, involve everyone and feel their excitement and their anticipation. I feel like that's actually what a lot of COVID was all about, was the anticipation to get back out and do everything again. If anything, it made everything that much more exciting. Who would have thought we needed cinemas so much? Like, everyone was so keen to get out and go shopping and go to the cinemas, the things that we all, used to take for granted. So, I definitely think everyone is very much excited to come out. And I think, I think too, there are a lot of people out there with empathy, especially towards the hospitality industry at the moment. People understand that we are quite understaffed. And I think if anything, it's actually given the whole industry a whole lot of new respect in what we do and what we've been doing and everything that we've been through. So I think it's like full steam ahead. I think everyone's ready to welcome everyone with open arms.
And from your side, you speaking to a year one student right now at Blue Mountains, you've got them right in front of you. What's your biggest advice? Sitting there with everything opening back up, where would you direct them?
Oh goodness. I think what I would be saying to them is just like, get ready, because like we don't even know what's coming, but what's coming is going to be great, and it's something that we've never seen before. And at the end of the day, we're all in this together.
Absolutely. What about you, Charles? What would you say to a year one student right now? Whether it be back home or at the Blue Mountains in Sydney, or
I think it's
in
just
states.
Love what you do. I'm not using the school quotes, but just love what you do. Just trust your choice. Trust yourself. You made that choice to step in to study and trust the industry that you wanted to go and venture yourself in hospitality. Just trust the industry will go back, because we stand back every time there's a pandemic or endemic or something happens. The industry will always bounce back very hard and stand even stronger each time. So it's just about whether you wanted to break the bubbles and come up and to be exposed. That's all.
Yeah. Excellent. Amelia?
I'll probably build up on what Charles was saying. Our industry has I actually haven't lived before any of the big downturns, but it's quite interesting looking at the data and how the industry has recovered very strongly every single time, because it's what Robin's saying. Everyone needs hotel, everyone needs travel, everyone needs that human connection. So to our year one students, I will tell congratulations, you've taken the first big step. I find that when you make the decision to go into a specific university and choose a career path is a big thing when you're that age. So they've taken the first step. Stay there, remain strong, explore different options, different career paths that you can take, and good luck.
Excellent. Scott?
Yeah, you asked that question in two parts. The first part was, why is the future bright? The future is exactly bright because of that cinema reference that I went and saw Top Gun Maverick like 2 weeks ago with my lovely, beautiful family. And as a massive Top Gun fan, made our two boys watch Top Gun, the original, know every line in that movie. Ironically, the first words in that movie are "Morning, Scott." So there you go, Scott. Anyway, sitting in the movie and gold class watching Top Gun, I was thinking to myself, how good is this? And I don't know why I feel this way, but it was quite an emotional moment of, I want more of this. I now know what can be taken away, and I now know how much more I want it. And I think our industry is that for a lot of people. So we need to embrace that, and we need to know that people have missed us. People want more of us. I do think the economy and tightening of household spending actually provides an opportunity, because people want to travel, and what people are showing us is they're still traveling. They're just not staying in Uber Lux. They're staying in mid-scale, or they're not staying in mid-scale. They're staying in economy. And that's brilliant. I mean, that's almost a perfect scenario ultimately. So I don't see any slowing down of that. I just think there's going to be a continuation of people knowing that, hey, I could have lost this forever. I want it back, and I want more of it, and I'm going to do more of it. And if that means I've got to forgo spending in other areas, then I'm going to go gold class, and I'm going to watch Top Gun again and again and again. So I just want to get that buzz. To my family, get ready. We're going to watch Maverick again. So I think that's what underpins everything. To a year one student, if it feels good, keep doing it. And if you don't listen to the noise, don't listen to the hard yards. If it feels good, just embrace it. And just, if it feels good for you, you go for it. And take the most of every day. Be grateful for those little moments that you've changed someone's life, and celebrate that, and keep going and find it again. It's a great responsibility, and it's incredibly rewarding, and it's the best place to be. It's a people industry. So the more you can if you're a people person, the more you can surround yourself with people, either serving them as guests or serving them as a colleague or serving them as a management company or serving them because they're your owner. If you've got that art of service in you, then foot down, let's go.
Yeah, the opportunity is there as well. I mean, from our point to a year one student, there are so many opportunities out there to join the industry, to grow, to develop, to experience new things. There's international travel opening back up. There's all these opportunities in different scales of hotels and event spaces and different sides to hospitality. And it's a great time to join the industry. I'm sitting here every day looking for someone to come into the hotel and make their mark. And, the people that do make their marks are on a huge scale upwards in their careers. And it's just about driving that passion in everything that you do every day, which is fantastic. So take the opportunities and grab it with two hands. But it looks like, that's all that we're going to have time for today. And I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in, those that are listening, but more importantly, our superstar panel for joining me today and giving some amazing insight into the industry post-COVID. But we're not talking about COVID because it's not existing anymore. We're looking forward. So I think it's pretty clear from what everyone kind of discussed today. There's opportunities. The future looks bright for hospitality, and those about to enter the industry or starting out. You've got a great career and launching pad ahead of you. And if I can speak obviously for everyone on the panel and all of our alumni as well, we're all here. The alumni network is set up to help you get to where you want to be and even exceed your own expectations of where you want to be. So I've seen it time and time again, people entering the industry and being a bit cautious, and they grab onto an alumni network and really catapult themselves up forward. So please utilize the alumni network, reach out. My LinkedIn, just the same as Scott's, my LinkedIn information is all there, and my contact's always available for anyone. So learn as much as you can. And it's really exciting to see where Blue Mountains is taking its students. So I'm actually excited to announce we've got a new next webinar, which will be next month, hosted by Whitney. And it's all about how we make the hospitality industry sexy again. So be sure to tune in on that one. There's not a set date at the moment, but there'll be some marketing information coming out about that, which will be a webinar not to miss. But thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you for your time, panel. And this recording will be saved, so you can watch it at a future date and send it out and share it with the team. So thank you again, and enjoy your Thursday nights and the future of hospitality. Very exciting.
Go the Roosters.
Go the Roosters. Thank you, team.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.